Meet the cast of my new Asylum series. Melanie Crackers is a creative sim. She loves to paint and write books. Melanie took her creativity too far when she started crazily vandalizing town with too many disturbing images. She went missing, and her family found her crazy cryptic stories on her computer and gave them to the authorities. They eventually found her, dirty and unkempt in a nearby forest, cackling like a witch as she vandalized a tree and the ground surrounding it. Melanie was then found to be insane and ordered to live in the Hummingbird Asylum. Norbert and Daphne Light are an alien couple that like to abduct human sims to perform experiments on. The experiments were deemed illegal in both the human and alien world. However, since the experiments were being performed on Earth, the aliens of Planet 6M refused to do anything about it. The authorities of Earth confiscated their high-tech alien equipment and rescued the humans held captive. The alien couple seemed more than unstable, and instead of being thrown in jail, they were taken to the asylum where they could learn how to properly treat human beings without the risk of hurting sane ones. Kenny Self started off as an ordinary guy. However, life turns grim when he became addicted to watching South Park. You see, Kenny has the same name as one of the characters on the show. Can you guess who? Kenny started to believe that he was actually the Kenny from South Park. Kenny claimed to be dead again and again. He refused to eat, he refused to bathe, he refused everything a living human wanted. He kept claiming that he was going to die 1,000 deaths if he came back to life. When his family forced him to see a doctor, a brain scan showed that somehow Kenny was literally brain dead. The doctors didn't know what to make of it. They eventually ruled it as walking corpse syndrome. Through therapy, Kenny was able to eat and bathe and do everything a living man would do. But Kenny still believed he was Kenny from South Park. Everyone gave up and just threw him into a mental asylum. Pamela Uppity always wanted to be the most popular girl in school. Due to her family moving around a lot, Pamela never got to be the it girl of any school. Not only that, but she was never liked by her fellow peers due to her crazy nature. Pamela grew especially obsessive and weird when she didn't get her way. No one granted Pamela the attention she craved. She became ridiculed and people started to play pranks on her. This happened at every school she went to. One day, some bully started to hurt Pamela, and that's when she learned she was truly a violent creature in her extreme bursts of anger. Eventually, in her first year at college, she found out there was no real popularity contest and nobody cared anymore. She was shocked and disappointed that she missed her chance. When someone tried to explain that it didn't matter, she retaliated and her extreme outburst never stopped. Everything around her was destroyed. She kept screaming and flailing about. She was restrained and taken to the asylum, where she now lives a somehow calmer life. Jeff Pastor's story is somewhat similar to Kenny's. Jeff was a high school dropout, unemployed and without any motivation to go job searching. Jeff lived in his mother's basement. Actually, it's his father's basement. His parents didn't really mind because they had all the sufficient funds they needed to live a comfortable life and more. So they didn't pay attention when Jeff spent all his time on his computer all day. Jeff became addicted to creepypasta stories. Somewhere down the line, Jeff lost touch with reality. He became obsessed with the horribly written killer creepypastas. It eventually led to Jeff believing that he was the real-life Jeff the Killer. Although, our Jeff's name is spelt differently. He still claimed he was actually Jeff the Killer. Jeff, as you can guess, did become a murderer. He was tactful and was not found out for a very long time. When he was caught in the act of torturing a sim, and other evidence was found against him, he was taken to court and found guilty. His parents tried to pay the authorities for their son's release. The authorities took the money but refused to release him. It wasn't until Jeff started screaming every night that he was Jeff the Killer and doing other strange things that the other inmates complained to the prison staff that there was something more than just wrong with Jeff. Jeff began making strange ghostly or other creepy undead noises during the day and screaming like a banshee at night that the staff took the other inmates' complaints to heart. Jeff was seen by a psychiatrist and ruled as insane and untreatable. He was then thrown into the asylum. Missy Match was just a young girl when she was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Missy liked to make sure everything was in tip-top shape and not out of place. She washed her hands more than regularly and started calling others dirty. It wasn't until a long, somewhat mysterious conversation with her sister that Missy discovered that she didn't have to put everything in order or have to constantly clean her hands. Missy discovered that she preferred to place things in other places. She liked her clothes unfolded and her socks outside of their drawers matched with different colors. She liked one hand constantly clean and the other dirty. Missy decided that others should be like her too. She sabotaged her family's bedrooms and poured dirt on them when they were asleep. When confronted, she started explaining that it was clean to be dirty and dirty to be clean. She misplaced all the electrical appliances and put the bananas in the washing machine. Missy was so proud of herself that she poured water on some empty batteries and offered them to her neighbor. One day, her family decided that enough was enough when Missy was caught having a bath in a strangely colored puddle that turned her hair green. After being assessed by a psychologist, Missy was referred to a psychiatrist, whom she made so angry with her insults about how everything in his office was not in a proper order, told him he was not clean by her standards, and broke a picture frame with a photo of his wife, which she then proceeded to draw on. The psychiatrist, red-faced and losing his temper, decided that Missy was not sane and would never be. She was then taken to the asylum where she enjoys the strange clutter in the bedrooms. Dolly Cole has suffered a cruel life. Dolly is in fact not the original Dolly. Our Dolly is one of the many clones that have been created. After a few clones were made from the original Dolly, it was decided that our Dolly, the fourth clone, be used to create even more Dolly clones. which left our Dolly to believe that she was the original, the true Dolly. She was also subjected to the frequent experiments at her time in the labs. This left her and many other dollies tormented. However, the other dollies always got their happy ending. They always found love that our poor Dolly never achieved. You see, whenever Dolly fell in love with someone, they'd always pick the other dollies over her. Dolly, being a romantic at heart, felt she failed at her true life's purpose, whatever that was. Angry that she was betrayed by many possible suitors that she fancied or caught her interest, Dolly began lashing out. She lashed out at the lab staff, the clones, and even the ones she considered the love of her life. In her head, Dolly was the original. She was the one that deserved all the love and attention. They say ignorance is bliss, but our Dolly is living proof that it isn't. Dolly will never understand that she was never meant to be anything more than an experiment. Dolly had lost her mind. For her, it was all over, and it didn't matter what happened to her. It was sometime after her initial outbursts of rage that the scientists decided that if a mental health correctional facility could work for a human, then it could work for a clone too. So, they sent Dolly off to the Hummingbird Asylum to sort her life out. Even if they didn't really care about the overused clone anymore, they thought it was the least they could do for a damaged clone. Will Dolly ever find happiness? I guess we'll find out soon in my Asylum series. The Hummingbird Asylum was created by my friend who goes by AM Gremlin. She has done a wonderful job. I am entirely happy with what she came up with. Really, it's absolute genius. I wasn't expecting this much effort and creativity put into an asylum. She really surprised me with what she visualized the asylum to be. And I think that what she has done fits perfectly with the type of Sims I'm going to have live there. I want to thank her so very much for making this asylum. She didn't have to, but she did. I'm very glad she did. It made me happy when I saw it for the first time. As you can probably tell from the stuff in it, I'm actually not doing an asylum challenge. However, I am using some rules from the challenge, such as funds set to 500 simoleons at the start of the game and one sim to control only. But I won't be strict with that. I'm simply doing it for fun, and I hope others will enjoy this series. Hope to see you soon.